All right, let's get you hooked again. Welcome inside another edition of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown. I'm Bob Ballou. We're excited to join you again. Anywhere on social media that you go, you can find us at The Stampede UT. And then, of course, anywhere you get your podcast, you can find ours, Apple, Spotify, or you can watch us on YouTube. We've been watching the Netflix documentary Untold, the testimony of Vince Young. We're going to talk about that with VY and get some of his perspective on how it turned out. Texas and Texas State just around the corner, so we'll get into actual football. But before we do that, of course, we have to talk about all the craziness of the rules of SEC and Big Ten and what all's changing with the rulings on the NFL players. So we'll get into all of that. But let's start with the documentary, Vince. I think the word that I would probably use when I watched it would be vulnerable. To see your vulnerability. And I think you've given our audience on the Stampede a really good taste of that over the last year. And then we got to see it on stage again with this documentary. I think it's been so cool to have you have your voice heard. Now we're hearing a little bit deeper of it as well. What were your initial thoughts when you got to see the documentary?
Well, Bob and Coach, it's been a blessing, man, to finally get my story out. A lot of people wanted to tell my story, but they wasn't telling it the right way because they wasn't walking in my shoes and understanding how I took it and the things that I did and the mistakes I have made. And, I wanted people to hear from me, my testimony. So for myself and John, the producer and Netflix and, the boss lady, Candace, we've been working on this for a whole year and a half and, we finally got it to where we wanted to be at. And we had a premiere this Monday with some close friends and family and some sponsors and, people that's been in my life. A lot of my teammates was there, Big Casey Hampton and those guys was there supporting. Some of my Tennessee Titans guys was there. We had a really good time. I really feel like Candace and her team did a really great job. I can't say no more about Auntie June Diedrich. She's a sweetheart Longhorn, and for us to get that story out and also with a song that Jordan is on the hook, wrote a song with some of the H-Town legend artists here in Houston. For them to be a part of it, I'm just happy, man. I'm just overwhelmed with the love that's been given to me and Candace throughout the last couple of days. Today, I think is already at number 2 in the country of people watching it already. So it's going in the right direction. I'm very pleased and I'm very happy, and I can't say enough that I've just been getting overwhelmed with a lot of love lately for the last couple of days, and I just really appreciate it.
Coach, I know you got a chance to see it. What were your thoughts?
Bob, I was overwhelmed. I love this guy so much. My life's so much better because he's in it, and my friend. I lived so much of this with him, but there's still stuff in there I didn't know. And he's such a great person. He's not going to whine. He's not going to say a lot of things about other people. And I just thought that he stood up. He was strong. For him to say, I made these mistakes and I want my children to see it. I want other people to see it so they know that you can come out of them and do well was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. We've talked a lot about alignment. Obviously, the Titans weren't aligned from the owner to the head coach to the offensive coordinator, and it doesn't work. So Vince did an unbelievable job to take that team from 4-10 to where they went in the playoffs and Rookie of the Year and all the things that he did when they weren't aligned, because that's really hard to do. So Sally and I sat there and watched it last night, and we laughed, we cried, we were there. And I thought, in fact, Sally, I said, oh, there's you in the locker room at the national championship game. And Vince is right. There's so many highs and lows in lives, and especially athletes who are celebrities, especially head coaches. And there's so much pressure. I was just sitting there watching last night. Our life's better because we won the game. If we hadn't won the game, it wouldn't be the same. I sat there and I cried during the Heisman ceremony because I sat there. I was with Vince. I was wanting to win so bad. And when he didn't, it just hurt me like it hurt him because it's hurt for him. And I could see that on his eyes last night. And so to Sally and I, we relived it We like I said, I laughed and I cried, but I am so proud of this big guy because he is who he is. He's a great father. He's a great husband, but he told the story last night, and so many people want to hear it. And Vince, there's so many things that are said about me that aren't true, and I'd like to take an hour and a half to tell them the truth. And you did it, man. And I love it, and I'm proud of you and love you.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Vince, I'm interested in how emotional this really was for you. It had to be cathartic, but it was super emotional, and you could tell. And there were different things in the documentary where they would have you on screen and you're talking and you had to pause. You know, whether it was after your redshirt freshman year when you tried to leave Texas and you got on the phone with Steve McNair. Obviously, Steve's death wasn't it wasn't a whole lot of the documentary, but that's something that was obviously emotional for you. Your relationship with your father. How difficult was it to go through some of the emotions that you've experienced versus maybe it was really good because it was cathartic for you?
Yeah, I just went through a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the things that someone always say, man, you one of the strongest guys I ever known because you go through stuff and you don't see it. When you step onto public, you still got a smile on your face. You're still happy. So a lot of people don't know a lot of behind closed doors. I went through a lot. So thank God and my family, people sticking with me through thick and thin. Coach Brown, a lot of mentors, a lot of people in my family didn't turn their back on me when I was going through it. And therapy, helped me out, pushed me to work on my mental health problems. And I went through it, and I want people to know, like, out there in the world, that if they're going through the same thing, I want them to see my testimony that can help them push them forward. So not having Steve anymore, that was tough. Not having a coach that I can lean on and talk to, not just about football, but he wasn't even there for that, Coach Fisher. Just processing things. I was a young guy. I was 22 years old. I was 23 years old, and I didn't get that I want to say like a kind of like how Coach Brown was. He was
Yeah.
more so not a player coach. He cared about you as a human being. He wasn't just caring about you as a player. So I didn't have that. So a lot of the times I had to go figure that out on my own as a young man at 22, 23 years old, getting talked about throughout the meeting, scrutinized. I mean, they was killing me for no reason. And all I want to do is play and win football games and play football and be a leader and do everything that when I signed my name on that dotted line, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to win. I wanted to be the best that I could be to help this organization make it to a Super Bowl. And it went the total opposite. So a lot of that stuff that I went through, it has made me who I am today. Made me even stronger. And I'm happy for my kids. I mean, talking to them after, I was like, now you know who your dad is right there. So when you go through anything in life, I'm here for you. And you're not going to grab it. You have to go by yourself. So you got your mom here, you got me here, you got your grannies, you got a lot of people here. You're gonna go through something, but just know that you can always come out of it a better person. Because basically my testimony shows it.
And Bob, let me say that after Vince had his little, I think I'm going to leave, and I had all the state patrol stop him and wouldn't let him out. And I wasn't going to let him off campus, much less go anywhere else. We never had 1 minute of problems. Not one. We never really disagreed. And if we disagreed, it was a conversation about music or practicing too much or what we should do offensively differently. But he was a great leader, not a good leader. He was a great leader in that locker room. He'd settle issues in the locker room. So if he and I had a documentary, we'd be dancing and singing and having fun, man. Because he led Texas to the last national championship in the last 55 years. So that says enough right there. But it takes a special guy to do that. And they did have a great team on the other side. And they did think they were going to win. And they did know we were good. And it was a great game. But Vince and his team beat maybe the best team of the century.
I think there's one more thing I want to ask Vince, and then we'll get into actually talking some football on this Texas football team. But one of the things you said they might have missed a little bit on was that you didn't get out there, that you were actually becoming a really good quarterback in the NFL. As the whole thing went downhill at the end with the Titans after the thumb injury and the incidents with Jeff Fisher. And maybe the other part that I thought was, I wish maybe we could have just heard a little bit more, because you've been so good about it and so vocal about it, is you being a father to Jordan and your kids, and being around your family and everything that means to you. Is there anything else that they missed? Was there anything else that because I just feel like you've been so good talking publicly about you being a father figure.
Well,
and how important that is to you.
Yeah, I mean, on those two parts, man, at those last 2 seasons in Tennessee, I was becoming a better passer, a better just overall quarterback. And it's not being said enough that, when I did that interview the other day, for him to go pick up those stats and show it, that I was a 91 quarterback rating, it was showing. I was more or less interceptions. I was more grit touchdown passes, and it doesn't get talked about at all, because like Coach said, everybody wants to talk about the negative. But of those last 2 seasons, I had a great season of becoming a great passer. Even when I was in Philadelphia, I had a great, doing pretty good as a quarterback, as a passer. And I wanted to make sure of that, because a lot of people was doubting that. And then on the aspect of not having my father in my life, that was tough for me, because I was around a lot of guys with their dads on the university, on the team with Texas, and as well as for the Titans. And I remember all the time in the locker room, those guys was getting hugged by their dad and squeezed. And I thought it was so cool to see that fatherhood and sons together. And, my mom and them was outside the locker room. They couldn't come in yet. So for me to do that right now for my kids, I know how important it is to them to be there for Jordan, to be there for Nyla, to go to their football game, for them to have somebody they can talk to on a regular basis that understand not just the good, but the bad, the ugly, everything, and know that we can fight together and go to therapy together, and we can come out of it on a special way. So I just want my kids to know that dad is going to be here for you for the rest of your life, and I love you.
Well, but you took a negative and turned it into a positive.
That's right.
And that's a message to every person out there that says, my parents didn't raise me right. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. Doesn't matter. Go be a great dad. Go be a great husband. And that's what you've done. And I thought in watching it, Bob, that sometimes when your head coach is talking bad about you, it gets around the league, and then it's hard to get a spot. Because everybody said, well, he's not going to be a backup. Well, he's hard to deal with. Well, he's not going to show up on time. He's not going to work very hard. And all of a sudden, people are scared. And that's what I thought. And I want to ask all of those who are critical, how many games have you started in the NFL at quarterback? Just ask.
And gone 31-19, by the way.
Yeah.
2 Pro Bowls.
and 30-2 in college, and won a national championship. Come on, folks.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
None of these. I mean, we're not. What are we?
Yeah.
What are we doing
No,
here?
we don't even need to go there. So you shamers, you can shut up and be pro Vince Young, because that's what we saw last night.
And hey, let's make one thing clear too here, Vince, because I think this was an important point too, with all the talk of Jeff Fisher and some of the things that the two of you went through. And he made the comment, we're not a family. All families are dysfunctional. You have all these things. Y'all had a family in that locker room.
Oh, yeah.
You still talk to all those players, right? I mean, y'all still have a really good relationship.
Yeah, we support each other. Just when somebody is opening up a restaurant, a coffee shop, or a foundation event, we still going to support each other, right? Right now, I'm going to be at the game to support Chris Johnson and 13th, and I'm looking forward to that. And there's going to be a lot of guys there. There's going to be Bo Scaife there, Key Bullock, Stephen Tullock, Ryan Mouton, Lindell White. I mean, we keep in touch with each other every day. We got a group text right now, just talking right now, crap. So it's special that, not only that we was doing our job as professionals, but when the game was over in the offseason, it wasn't football. It was spending time with each other and building that chemistry and supporting each other. I used to enjoy going to somebody's charity event in their neighborhood, in their backyard, and getting to know their coaches, their moms and sisters and brothers. and finding out nicknames about them and just funny stuff about my teammates that I can use back when we get in that locker room. So I thought that was what football's what was all about, is building the chemistry and building a brotherhood. And then you can call us your brother, your family for the rest of your life.
And Bob, to be fair, Coach Fisher won a lot of games
Yep.
and was a good coach. They didn't have alignment. Vince did an unbelievable job to go into a program where they said they didn't want him and make it work. So that it worked at all is a great tribute to all of them. But when you're not aligned, you can't stand strong when it gets a tremendous amount of pressure. And that's really what happened. It was destined not to work. I remember when they said they didn't want Vince, they wanted Matt Leinart, and then they came down to see Vince, and I'm sitting in the room with him. And they're saying, what do you think we did do? I said, you better tell him you love him and you're happy he's there because you just said you didn't want him. And I said, if I'm him, I don't know what I'd do. But you said you don't want him. So here we go.
Yeah, I think that's, we've talked about this a bunch on the show. The NFL is a business, and there is that side of it that I think people, sometimes just don't realize what a business it is. And Vince, all of this has been so special. I think all of us are very appreciative for you getting to tell your side, both the sides where you messed up, but then also the sides how you've come back for us. I think from all Texas fans, I think everybody would say thank you for being vulnerable and being willing to talk through this stuff.
Oh yeah, anytime. I mean, I'm representing the state of Texas, so I got to let them know who I am, and they definitely know who I am. So I'm just glad to get the story out for people to understand, what happened, and so they can, I can have closure for one, and the people that had some questions that was asking, now the testimony is out. So I really do appreciate it. It's been really some great, overwhelming comments. I mean, people are just I think as well is needed right now for our country, for people to see stuff like that, because there's so much going on in the world, and for me to be one of the guys that lead the way of trying to push people to continue to fight through whatever they're going through in life is always a light, a better way, a better light on the other side if you just keep going and keep fighting. It's always a better day, always a better day.
Well, we're proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Untold. The testimony of Vince Young is now out on Netflix, and we encourage you to go see it if you haven't already. All right, when we come back, we will get into Texas football as they finish up preseason camp and get ready for Texas State next week, and we'll get into a little bit of what's going on in the NCAA as well. That's all when we come back. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the country, and if you're a property owner like we are, you know it hits harder than a blindside sack. That's why every winning season starts with the right playbook. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Pro Tax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. They're the #1 defense against soaring tax bills, the kind of defense that stuffs rising values at the line and sends them back to the locker room.
Do your homework before you just let any firm suit up for you. I've looked at the stats, and Texas Pro Tax doesn't just win, they dominate.
We're talking big gains, deep passes, and the kind of tax-saving drives that make your wallet do a victory dance. While the other firms are warming the bench, Texas Pro Tax is driving the field, breaking tackles, and putting up game-changing Texas-sized tax savings.
Stampede listeners, your minimum fee is waived. No flags, no fumbles.
Visit TexasProTax.com, sign up and enter code STAMPEDE to join the winning team, and finally put your property taxes on the bench.
Around here, we appreciate tradition. Whether it's Texas football or a family business that's been doing things the right way for generations, there's just something special about people who take pride in their craft.
And that's exactly why we are excited to partner with Farah Coffee.
Farah's Coffee starts on their family's farms in the mountains of Nicaragua, where they have been growing 100% specialty-grade Arabica beans for more than a century. Every bean comes from Rainforest Alliance certified land, where they are shade-grown under a natural forest canopy and hand-picked, then brought to be locally roasted right here in Austin. By overseeing every step, they ensure the highest quality, freshness, and care in every cup.
But what really makes Farah stand out is that every bag gives back.
Through the FARA Foundation, your purchase helps support healthcare, education, and food programs for the farming families and communities that make every cup possible.
Family owned and grown, locally roasted, shared with purpose.
If you're looking to upgrade your morning coffee, do yourself a favor and check out Farah Coffee. You will taste the difference. All right, welcome back to The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown. I'm Bob Ballou. We appreciate you joining us. You can always hit us up on social media at The Stampede UT and catch this podcast anywhere you get your podcast. All right, let's talk some actual football. We're getting close. Week and a half away from Texas State to open the season on September 5th.
Finally.
The second scrimmage ends, and Steve Sarkisian creates a little bit of, I don't know what the right word is, headlines, I guess are probably the best word, by saying the offense wasn't as efficient as he would have liked. They came out a little lethargic, and he wanted a little more from them off the start, but then they ended well, and there are whispers and people that are, in the know, talk to people in camp, and Arch isn't having the best camp, and all these things that start coming out this time of year. From your guys' perspective, how much of what you work on in the first 2 or 3 weeks of preseason camp is more directed at, for a guy like Arch that's a seasoned veteran coming back, let's try some things to see what we like, what we don't like, what windows fit here. Can I fit a ball in a window here? Is this receiver doing this the right way? Is this running back doing this the right way? Our offensive line, all those kind of things. When you start hearing the whispers of stuff like that, I would almost argue it goes the other way, where you're really not that worried about it. What do you guys say as guys who had some pretty good runs in 04 and 05?
Well, Coach gonna always challenge us anyway. That's just who Coach Brown is. He can start something over there, and we all know, like, okay, y'all heard what Coach said, right? So we need to have a good practice today. And from an offensive standpoint, you can't really just feed off what nobody else is talking about. Like, first of all, you're tired of playing each other, for one. And Coach knows this. Defense pretty much knows everything we're doing and running. Just off alignment of receivers inside the numbers, we know he's probably going to run an out route. So a lot of these things is just a great competition between two guys right now, the offensive defensive side. And you winding down to, like, getting ready for the season. You got the game next week, and guys are excited. It's time to get ready for that. And if they're saying some of these guys are not having the best practice as they think, was they probably getting bored of going up against the same people already. So now it's really about just getting all the kinks and all the bugs out right now at practice. So when the game time come, you feeling good about yourself, you prepared just about what you need to do to get ready. I mean, man, you got some good guys. I'm just hearing about this Richard guy. Like,
Richie
for
Wesley, yeah.
Colin Simmons to give his teammate that type of love is saying a lot, as well as the receivers, hearing about the receivers and the running backs. I mean, that is pretty damn good, for a team that's just now start playing with each other and that chemistry, they working together. So that means some things are going on over there on that acres over there that we should be happy about underneath the radar, that I feel like Coach Stark is trying to hide from us a little bit. Even when just hearing about a little Bishop out there just doing the things that a young man, like not having any mistakes, catching the ball, making plays already. Like, that's just phenomenal stuff that you want to hear about the team right now. So all the other stuff they can just shut up about.
And Mac, from your perspective, obviously now is when the window starts narrowing and you start kind of getting into more of, let's get into actual game week mode. He mentioned Richard Wesley and Jermaine Bishop, Derek Cooper, obviously another freshman that they're expecting to have an impact this year. How much changes now versus the first 2.5 weeks of preseason camp?
A lot changes. It's nearly like you're through with preseason. You're into 15, 16 practices, and let me say, the head coach never leaves the field happy, because either the defense or the offense is going to look better, and you're on special teams, and you're responsible for all three. So if the defense looks a whole lot better than the offense, you're mad at the offense, and you're patting the defense on the head, and you're saying, y'all go eat. Offense, let's meet. Well, we haven't eaten dinner. Let's meet. We got some things we need to fix. And then as a head coach too, the players are the most tired right now of any time. So you held some key players out of the scrimmage Saturday because they've had enough. They got to start working now for the opener. And then you want to look at some of those other young guys, and the young guys that can play as freshmen are the ones that can handle the routine, the heat, the schedule, the grind. And a lot of them can't handle it. They think they can when they get here. But then, my ankle's sore. Can't play. I pull my hamstring up. Can't play. Next. Come on. We got to get ready to play, man. And then you're starting to look at things like what message do you send? So Sark will throw out a couple of names. He's trying maybe to get a backup to be stirred up because he mentioned Bishop. Maybe somebody else that's older should have been stepping up.
I've
asked you to step up, man. You're not doing it.
It's a little trap, coach.
Little trap. That's what it is. Listen. And then sometimes maybe Sark sending a message to the fans. Let's slow down now. You've got us win the national championship. We got too many penalties. We had 4 turnovers Saturday. We got things we got to fix. So the messaging is so important when you start thinking about it. And Vince just said it. The defense is so much better than the offense. But if you listen closely, Sark said, but the offense finished good. You want to have your first team players leave the field feeling good. And then you can yell at them. Vince and we're talking off camera. We laughed. Greg Davis and I used to tell Vince before the practice, before the scrimmage, we're going to get on your butt today now because the rest of them need to hear it. So just handle it. May not even be fair, but we're going to get on your butt because you're the best player. And if we don't coach you like we do that second team offensive guard, then he's going to say, yeah, Vince is a baby. They like him, man. He's soft. No. So you get all over Vince, and all he'd do is say, yes, sir. I got it.
Yes, sir. I got you, coach.
And so there's a lot of messaging right now going on, good and bad. The other thing is in scrimmages, at this point, the offense has no game plan. So you may throw an interception, and they're working with some young receivers. He may run the wrong route. May not have great protection up front. An interception doesn't mean that Arch threw a ball wrong. There's about 13 things that could happen that could have made a tip ball, a whole lot of things that are there. So I wouldn't listen or read anything to any of it. If I'm a fan, I'd get pumped about that opening ball game and get ready to go. Vince's opening ball game, our national championship year, the week before we played Ohio State on the road was Louisiana Lafayette. We beat them 60-3. Did we use anything that we're going to use against Ohio State? Not that we hadn't shown the year before. We had some things in our pocket. We worked on Ohio State. Well, Vince is working on them in June. So, but we were working on Ohio State. We wouldn't tell the players, but they knew it. But you get your basic stuff in. You get your team ready to play. You've got a standard of excitement and energy that you have to have every week, and that starts with Texas State. Give them credit. They're who they are. Are they as deep as you know? They've got good skill. They got good quarterbacks. Usually the linemen are the difference in those ball games because they don't have the same type lineman that Texas has, and they sure don't have enough of them. And it's going to be 105.
Oh, yeah.
106.
It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot. And Coach Royal put those lights on that one side so the sun covers the sideline that Texas is on, and it's right in the face of the opponent. And it's hot, man. It is hot over there. We used to sit over there and watch them sweat and know that it was coming.
Cramping,
but I think
everything.
that's the thing. This is very typical of this time of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's, you start getting into personnel. And Vince, I think this is a good question because when you start thinking about the rapport that you need, Sark talked about how Archer's rapport with Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley is really good right now. He said Emmett Mosley and Grayson Littleton are the 2 hardest workers in camp, and he's really impressed by those guys. But you think about that trio of receivers, when you look back on, Lima Swede and Billy Pittman and David Thomas and how you're trying to build the rapport with a lot of those guys, even Quan and Brian Carter. You think about those guys, how important is this time of year for that purpose alone, for you to get comfortable with your receivers?
Well, it was the hard part is trying to get them the ball. Because, every one of them are always open, especially Billy Pittman. I'm open, bro. No, you're not, bro. That's not the read, but the good part about that, he got chemistry. He got some good guys that's going to catch the ball. Right now you're just trying to continue to get that extra throw in, extra route, extra something. Hey, let's watch a little extra film together. Hey, when they run that weak side blitz, I want you to cut your route off at 6 yards instead of running it at 8. Those type of things are key because any way I can get the ball out and get it to these guys in the open, I mean, they're that talented. They'll make somebody miss and turn into a 75-yard touchdown or a big game. So it's all about that type of stuff right here. It's the key points that's coming up these next couple of days and before it's time to go play the Bobcats. Those little small things are going to help them. And anything they can do to work extra, like Coach just said, yeah, I might do an interception, but we was working on something, and then we can go back and watch that. Hey, well, when he does that, then you need to break it off or you can get an extra step. So these type of things is going to make them better, especially with chemistry-wise and understanding the game when you see certain coverages, instead of you doing certain things that we want you to do, but hey, I might want you to break that off a little bit quicker. So getting that understanding down, I think that's a key point of these next couple of days with his receivers.
And Bob, just listening to Vince and playing off of that, I'm talking to guys the other day, they were double teaming. Muschamp was double teaming Coleman. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
So do it now, and then Wingo, step up, man. Mosley, step up. You guys, you got to step up and make it happen because he is going to be double teamed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do, where do we go? And what do we do? And if you double team him, you can run the ball better. And those backs sounds like they're really catching the ball well out of the backfield. So that can be another really important phase of this offense.
The adversity is going to hit this year at some point. It hit during preseason camp last week for Steve Sarkisian. So first, Trevor Gooseby goes down with the bone bruise that they thought could have been season ending. They didn't know a 16-hour period of holding your breath, waiting on MRI results. That's never fun. And then Sarkis dismisses Ty Anthony Smith from the team. Mac, when you go through some of those things in preseason, how do you handle that as a coach? And how do you handle that as you try to move forward with your team to say, hey, we've been through some of this stuff already. We're going through some of the adversity now.
Your family goes through stuff. Well, we always thought you take care of the team first, and then you take care of the person. And I hated it when a player got hurt because it changed his chance to play. I hated it when a player got in trouble or broke some team rules, and we had standards. Really, we didn't have rules. But if he didn't live up to the standard, then you've got to make a decision. And if you have to make a decision to take him away from the team, that changes his life. So what we would do is if he couldn't stay, then number one, we tried to make sure he had counseling. We made sure we were there to help him, and we made sure that we could try to work to get him in a place where he could transfer. So you don't just drop one. You still try to help him, even though he made some poor decisions that did not allow him to stay on the team. And then with the team, Vince will tell you now, we'd sit down and say, okay, here's what happened. And I'd usually do it before I would kick one off the team. I'd say, guys, here's what happened. I want your opinion. Vince, tell me. Brian Arakpo, tell me. What do you think? What do you think? It's your teammate. What if it's you? How are you going to feel if he's in that locker room? Because Vince knows we had some stuff. And when you have stuff, you just got to handle it. And then I'd walk out of there and say, when's the game? Is there a game? Come on, game. God, I'm tired of all this stuff. Let's get this out of the way. And then you had the parent be loud. I would have been mad at an assistant coach if a parent went public without him coming to see me. So I'd say, man, you got to take care of your room. I don't need your room being a problem in my office. Handle it. You got to handle 12. I'm handling 120. So come on, man. Do your job.
Right.
Do your job. Vince has heard all that.
Yes,
So, but I think that's the biggest part. Do what's right for the team and the team chemistry. And these guys are really smart and they know it. And tell them and ask them. Get them involved. You also had a leadership committee. We'd ask them their opinions. And then after you had to make a hard decision for a player, take care of him. We wanted to treat him like he would be your son, like you'd treat your son or your daughter if they had messed up. And we kept the parents involved. I said, we never want surprises. make sure the parents know everything before it happens. And that's just the way we handle it.
Yeah, and add on to that as a player standpoint, and then we got to embrace him. You know, if it's an injury or somebody had to, leave the team for whatever may reason, bad grades, whatever. Whoever that leader is in that position room, make sure you stay in contact with that person, or as a team. When we see you in the training room getting your rehab or whatever, we come in there. Hey man, hey, you all right? Just want to check on you because being in that room by yourself, man, it's tough trying to get back out on that field with an injury, man. That's why they call it the black hole, because you're just there with a trainer every day. And you're going to need your guys coming in and your leaders and your other teammates. Hey, man, just checking on you, man, making sure you's good. Them type of things, it goes a long way, as well as the guy who probably got kicked off the team or had to go do some things to get back to the school. But grades wasn't right, whatever it may be. You want to make sure you stay in communication with them as a player standpoint.
And make sure the player that's leaving or that's injured is okay with mental health.
Right.
I mean, it's so important. They've lost who they are. How embarrassing for it all to be public. If you're injured, you're not around the coaches or players as much. So then you think the coaches don't even care about you anymore. No, they're busy. They got to get ready for the opening game, and it's a very, very difficult thing. It's difficult for the parents too, as well. And I have actually had kids get in trouble, transfer, and then I would call the place they transferred to make sure they were doing okay. I'd check on them. I still do. I have some players that transferred from North Carolina when we left. I'll check on them, see how they're doing, or I'll see they're starting, or I'll text with them. And a couple of times the people in the league would say, well, that's tampering. I said, I'm not tampering. I'm checking on them. I didn't ask them to come back. They can't come back. I want to make sure they're okay. So there's got to be some common sense put in this. But I think the biggest point is I wanted Greg Davis to treat Vince and Colt McCoy and Chance Mock and Matt Norgren like he would want his son or his daughter to be treated. And that's why we didn't have rules. We had standards. And if you didn't live up to the standard, then we had to make some decisions. And we said the kids on our team were all great kids. Maybe some made poor decisions. But I would not allow a coach to say, well, he's a bad kid. He's not. Maybe he wasn't raised right. You ever make a bad decision? Yeah, I've made bad decisions. So let's don't say they're bad kids. Let's help them get from where they are. They dug a hole. Let's help them get out of that hole and get back on their feet.
And that you talk about coaching. I mean, that's the definition of coaching right there is working with your players to get them in a better position by the time they leave, whether it's Texas or somewhere else. All right, we do have Mac just asked the question. When's the football? When do we get to do the football?
There's a game.
There's a game.
We don't know
do
who's
the football
going to be playing because all the rule changes, but there's a game.
Well, when we come back, we are going to get into Texas and Texas State and what the Horns will face when they face the Bobcats, as well as a nice award for Coach Brown and a little bit of what's happening with the NCAA. That's when we come back. This is the Stampede podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. All right, final segment of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown. I'm Bob Ballou. Let's get into some actual footballs. We'll talk Texas and Texas State, and we're going to get into the NCAA rulings and what's going on in college football. The SEC and Big Ten have made a pretty big statement on guys going to the NFL and coming back. So we'll let you know, like, for instance, when Texas goes to play at LSU, will they just be playing against all the guys the Saints cut, or will they actually be playing against college players? So we'll get into that in just a minute. But before we do that, I wanted to ask Coach Brown to speak for just a minute. He was honored with the 2026 Nick Saban Legacy Award, and you went to Birmingham, Alabama, and got to participate in a really cool ceremony. I'm curious what it's like to receive an honor like that for you.
Bob, the first thing as a head coach is that, and it sounds like a cliche, but you wouldn't get any awards without all the ex-players, all your coaches and staff that worked so hard for so many years. So anytime I get recognized, what I do with pride is understand it's honoring all of those folks. When I went in the Hall of Fame, it was Vince in the Hall of Fame and Colt in the Hall of Fame. It was all the guys that played. Quan Cosby's in the Hall of Fame. Jamal Charles is in the Hall of Fame, because I wouldn't be there without any of this. And it was a fun night because Lou Holtz was being honored. We lost him 6 months ago, and his son Skip is a dear friend of mine. Coach Holtz was a mentor of mine, so he was honored at the same banquet. So I got to spend time with Skip, and I got to talk about Coach Holtz and what he meant to me. And Pat Dye Jr. is an agent that I've known for years, but his dad was honored last year at the same banquet, and Coach Dye was so much fun. I had so many Coach Dye stories. We were getting beat 33-0 in my opening game at North Carolina in 1988. We're at Auburn, and he took everybody out. I think he was looking for guys in the stands and didn't know their names, and he put them in the game to try to make it where we could make a first down. So we actually came back and made it 33-21 after the game. Coach Dye comes over and he hugs my neck, and he said, I said, Coach, thank you so much for putting those guys in and letting us have a chance. And he said, well, I wanted your guys to leave here feeling good about themselves. But he said, let me tell you, your team's damn bad. They are really a bad football team. And I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir, they are. And then my brother Watson was there, and he coached at UAB, and he had so many friends. And Pat Suddas, our general manager at Texas and at North Carolina, was there because he's an agent now. So David Cutcliffe was there. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And Nick and I talked about the current state of college football, but more than anything else, you love your players and their families, and they're an extended part of your family. And the relationships are what I get and have gotten out of coaching. And I'll take those relationships to my grave. And I'm so proud of these guys. And every day I'm talking to ex-players about something to try to help them that they need, whether it's a contact, whether it's a job, something. And that's what the Saban Award was all about.
Well, and it's, I don't want it to be lost that, you were a really good coach for a long time in college football. You've had a major impact on the sport. And that's why, so many people want to honor you in these ways. I did read an article in the, I think it's Alabama on Alabama.com. And they said one of the first questions they asked Nick was about the 2009 national championship game and what he remembered about it, what he wanted to talk about it. And the first thing that he said was Colt getting hurt. And I think that, he could have just said, well, it was our national championship. We did this and that and the other. And we talk a lot about what that game would have been like with Colt. But for Nick to acknowledge that too, I think was pretty cool. Because I think we all know that was a significant impact. The biggest impact maybe there's ever been on a national championship game.
Well, Nick turned to me and said, do you think if Colt had not gotten hurt, you would have won the national championship? What I should have said is, yeah, absolutely. 100%. You couldn't stop the pass, and you couldn't stop athletic quarterbacks. What I said was, that's a hypothetical, and we're not going to answer hypothetical questions. He got hurt, and that's part of football. Yeah. And that was it. So I let it go, but I didn't give the answer I wanted to give. If we had lost Vince in the 4th, 5th play of the USC game, we would have lost that game too.
Would that game have been different? Gee, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and Colt was the winningest quarterback in college football history at that time. So he was a big loss for us.
Well, congratulations on the award. I know that
Congrats,
means a lot
Coach.
to receive any kind of award that acknowledges what you've done in your career. And I know that one's pretty special. So congratulations to you. As we do get into Texas State here in about a week and a half, depending on when you're listening to it, you may be listening to this on a Saturday. Now it's a week. But Texas gets to play Texas State to open the season, as opposed to last year when it was Ohio State right off the bat. They'll get a game against Texas State. G.J. Kinney was the quarterback here in 2007. Not the quarterback, obviously you had Colt McCoy, but was on the roster in 2007. And what a job he's done. 23-16, 3 bowl appearances in 3 straight years for Texas State. First time they've gone to bowl games as an FBS program. So it's really special what he's done. And he brings back some really talented offensive players. Brad Jackson is a quarterback across the nation that a lot of people are starting to learn about. He's staying at Texas State for another season. He didn't transfer. And he brings back Bo Sparks and Chris Dawn, who both had 1,000-yard receiving years last year in receiving yards last year. So they're a dynamic offense, and it's going to put the Texas defense to the test right off the bat. I think that's probably the way you want this to go. You want a team that is not a top 5 team like it was last year, but a team that's going to put something on you and give a real challenge to your players.
Yeah, last year's schedule I thought was horrible. You go to Ohio State in your opening game with a quarterback that started 2 games. And you got new receivers. You got new running backs. You got questions in your offensive line. There were so many bad things about that. Then you come back and play 3 or 4 games that you should win after that, but you lose it. And all of a sudden there's just negative on top of negative, and you're behind the 8 ball getting started. This year it's perfect. You got a team that you should beat if you play well at home. Going to have a 100,000 there, 100,000+. And then you've got Ohio State coming in the second week, and you've got it's going to be hot as could be. So it'll be 105. The hottest time when we were practicing before was between 5 and 7 in the late afternoon. That's going to be right in the middle of it with that sun. Like we said, it's going to be right in Ohio State's face, and Texas is going to be over there getting jackets in the cold. They're in that shade over on the other side. But I think the schedule sets up perfectly. G.J. Kinney played for us. He's a great young man. His dad was a high school coach and a prominent high school coach. The difference, Vince, in my opinion, is with group of 6, you can get skill. Got a lot of receivers out there. You can get a running back. Got a lot of running backs. You can find a quarterback that maybe transferred 2 or 3 times. You can't get the quality lineman too deep well enough to beat a Texas. And that's where the game gets out of hand.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, you as an offensive standpoint and from the arch position, you want to just get out there and get in the rhythm, get the guys in and out of the huddle, try not to get dumb penalties off holding outsides, delay games, work on whatever you need to work on that that you're going to be running against Ohio State. But you want to get in that rhythm. You want to get on their butt and kick their butt and get on out the game. And hear coach, the offensive coordinator talk to you about what we need to work on, things that you did good today. You want to get out there and get in that rhythm really quickly, because you don't want to be out there too long and get yourself hurt. You want to get with your things you want to work on, like I said, and get your butt out that game, because Coach Brown said, they're going to talk to us before, hey, we're going to give you about 20 to 30, 35 plays. I need y'all to have those plays doing it right. Okay, Coach, no problem. As long as we out about the third quarter, huh, Coach? That's all I asked for.
Well, and my rule with Vince was that regardless of the score at halftime, he and the starters started the third quarter.
Yeah.
Because I wanted them to have the mindset at halftime. I didn't want them to think they were through. The game was over.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were going to have to start the third quarter all the other games.
Right.
So if it was 100-0, we were starting with our team the third quarter because they need to get in that mindset. And then we'd let them go a drive. And if they stunk on the first drive, I'd either get mad at them and pull them out or say, no, go again. But be smart enough that we weren't going to get some key player hurt. And you can. But if they took the drive, I said, get you a good drive and let's get you out. So they go back that second half, take it right down and score. I'd say, go get some water.
You're through. Very important. And it's very important that Arch makes sure that he gets in that guy's head. Like, hey, guys, Coach said we're going to go run series. Let's make it as best that we can out here. And let's get our butt on the sideline. And not just that coming out that half, but just start and finish of the game. You want to be very impressed to make sure your head coach is like, okay, good job today. You guys wasn't playing around. You took it serious. You did your job, and you came off the field. And then I hope Arch is talking to his guys about that.
Yeah, finish. And you're not playing Texas State. You're playing Ohio State in the opener.
Right. You want to look
good on TV. Because you're playing to a standard.
Yeah.
That's it. When Vince beat Louisiana Lafayette 60-3, is worse than that. We just took Vince out when it was going to keep it under 100. But they played like it was a standard. And then if you're going to win a national championship, you got to play to the standard every week. And you can't have time off. Can't take a play off. Can't take a day off. Sure can't take a game off.
And I know it's all important, so I don't want this question to come off this like there's a real big difference in whatever your answer is to this. But for you guys, what's more important for this specific Texas team? Is it more important that we see an offense that's running on all cylinders, the running game looks good, the passing game looks good, or is it more important that this defense can shut down a high-powered offense in Texas State?
It's important, everything, all phases. You want to put on that film and make sure Ohio State like, oh, shit, we better get ready. These guys look good in all phases. And it's very important because you don't want nobody coming into your house thinking they got a little edge on them because what they
Mhm.
saw on film. So
Yeah.
it's very important for all three phases. There's nothing against Texas State. You supposed to kick that ass, you go kick that ass. You go dominate them and say, hey, after the game, good game, baby.
Yeah,
Don't get on that
thank you.
I-35 and get back on home, baby.
Get your check. Get your check. Head down.
But it's
head
nothing
down
against
to-
them. It's nothing against them. It's all about us. And you want to set that tone straight up, off top. So when Ohio State turn that film on, oh man, Arch Manning look a little bit quicker getting the ball out. You want that defensive coordinator like, okay, let me get myself and get these guys ready to play. And if they have to do that as a team. The Longhorns have to do that.
And Bob, you got a list of things that force turnovers, protect the ball.
Mhm.
No pre-snap penalties, no post-whistle penalties. Don't be stupid. Don't push a guy because you got lack of discipline. Don't be holding. Get your feet in the right place. So create an edge and go to this game and play at a very high level in all three phases. And like Vince said, Ohio State coaches, players are going to be watching very closely.
Yes, they are.
And if you're sloppy at left guard, they're going to say, we're going to put our best tackle over you. We're going to whip your tail, man.
Mm-hmm.
So you better have that defensive tackle at Ohio State saying, I got my hands full
Exactly.
because this guy's coming after me. It was Texas State. He fought his tail off. And that's what you've got to do in this opener.
Sark mentioned, somebody asked him, what's the most important thing? You get one thing. What's most important? He said, protect the ball and force turnovers. That's it. And that's the biggest thing that he wants to see this team do. Okay, before we go, let's get your thoughts on the big news this week that is ever changing. It's Sark even joked about it. He was like, I'll say something to guys for 3 hours, and 3 hours later, it'll all change. So who knows? But the SEC and the Big Ten have finally taken a stand, and kudos to them for doing so. And they basically said, no player that goes to the NFL and signs a contract or was drafted will be able to come back to college and play, which pretty much eliminates everybody. For Texas guard Cole Hudson, it's actually a good thing because he never signed a contract. He never declared for the draft technically, and he did go to 2 rookie mini camps, but he never signed a deal. So he is still, as far as all the rules we could tell, he's still eligible to come back as of today. But for everybody else, they're gonna knock that down. And it's not just that they're saying you can't do it. They're saying if you do it and you bring somebody back, we're going to suspend the head coach for half the season. We're going to take away your budget, 50% of your athletic budget for football. I mean, they are making this thing almost an impossibility. So I wanted to get your guys' take on, hey, guess what? Guys that went to the NFL can't come back to college. It's like we did this with the NBA with Alabama, but we're trying it again with the NFL. It's not going to happen. I assume you guys are okay with this, right?
Well, I guess Cole's dad must be a judge. Or he's a lawyer, because if he didn't sign anything, that's ingenious. I was told yesterday that if they don't have something in place where the leagues and the universities can penalize the coach, that these players are just going to sue and get eligible. So what they've tried to do, it looks like, with this ruling, is they're trying to say, I don't care what you do. If you play him, you're at fault because you're responsible to us.
Yep.
So we're not going to allow the courts to overturn it where a kid can play if we as a league think he shouldn't play. And the only way to do that, and Bob and you and I talked about this a little bit, there's got to be teeth in the consequences.
Right.
And that's strong stuff. Half a year for a head coach and half your budget. Nobody going to be playing. Nobody's worth that as you start looking at it. And the other thing, Vince has talked so much about team in the year we've been on this podcast and getting to know your brothers and hanging out together. We're talking about a guy showing up next week. He might come in on Friday and dress with the team, and he doesn't even know how to get to the dorm. He got no clue. How do you get him in school this late? What about admissions? What about when school starts? I mean, there's so many question marks. Even Sark said, I like our team. What if you start bringing in a guy right now and you put him at tailback, and all your tailbacks that have worked all year say, so this guy's going to come in and hadn't worked any. He hadn't done anything for this team, and we're just going to give him the job.
Oh, not a good message.
Yeah. So, Vince, what do you think?
Well, I mean, from a dad standpoint, I mean, I feel it's really bad for high school kids. You know, I'm coaching bringing up a young man, young lady right now that's in high school, and I got to think about these things like, what? Like, why? How is this even possible? When you got this kid over here working his tail off to go to college, and then you got a guy that's doing the same thing, but he didn't make the team, wherever it may be, and you're gonna give him opportunity to come back? Like, what? So, I feel like, I'm glad that they putting some rules and regulations and, trying to keep people from not doing it, but I don't even I'm so exhausted with these topics right now. It's just unbelievable that our college sports is going through all this mess. And, I got to stay on it every time. I'm so appreciative of Coach Brown sending those text messages, and y'all got to read it.
Mm.
I got to read it because I'm coming on a podcast with you guys, but I also got to look at it like for my kids' sakes. You like, I got to read this stuff so I can inform Candace, I can inform other parents that I know that I come and that I have contact with and stay in contact with about their kids. Like, make sure y'all read this, make sure y'all focus on this, make sure y'all stay on top of this, and make sure you paying attention to all this stuff because in a way it is hurting our kids that's coming out of high school in a way. So
And Sark's
Well-
right. It's nearly like, really?
yeah, really?
That
Like
can't
what?
be true.
Like
That happened
that did
today?
not just go across the screen. I know I read that wrong.
No, that can't be true. That can't be true. So
Well, I did have some excitement when this all started early on because I know Vince still had another year. He could have come back at one point and played
I
another year at
pitched that
Texas.
the other
but-
day to Vince, and he said, "Let's talk."
Let's talk.
Of course, NIL. I'd have to go to work.
Yeah,
Get
NIL.
a pretty good package.
If
Oh,
I can
boy.
get some new legs, then I'll try it out.
Oh
I
man,
can
that's
dye
good.
my hair.
Yeah. Well, hopefully by the time we talk again next week, these rules will still be in place. We'll be in a firm spot as all this goes. Hopefully this has taken care of some of the nonsense that was going on. And by the way, the vote from the presidents was 15-0 with LSU abstaining, if that tells you anything. So we will continue to follow this story, and we'll get you ready for Texas and Texas State next week. Guys, thank you
Football
as always
time,
for doing
baby.
this.
Football
It's football
time.
time. We finally get to get into some football. Vince, Mac, looking forward to next week.
Thank you. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Let's go, baby.
All right. He's Vince Young. He is Mack Brown, and I'm Bob Ballou. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We will see you for game week next week.